Hi, I'm Elfina Luk, and today we're going to talk about breaking free. What is breaking free? What are we breaking free from? We're going to break free from the patterns that are holding us back to unlock your authentic self. I am so excited to talk about this with you today. So, do you feel stuck in patterns, held back by fear or self doubt, even a little bit, sometimes, maybe a lot? Today, we're going to uncover the blocks holding you back and give you steps to break free from that. I've been there too. I have personally experienced the weight of what it feels like to navigate through life and all the things we encounter, personal, work, business, relationships, and how recurring patterns of fear, self-doubt that block us from experiencing life in a much more free, peaceful, joyful, abundant way. So I am here because I want to share with you what I've learned to help you experience the same transformation that I have been experiencing. And it doesn't mean that there's no more work to be done. It's a journey of life, but I have been able to tap into the depth of the blocks so that I can feel myself completely untether from the shackles that it's felt like for so many years. Okay, so for you, what is holding you back? What's holding you back? Recurring patterns. So these are things that, overthinking, perfectionism, or self-sabotage that they show up again and again and again. And I like to use the analogy, it's the same hole, that we fall in, and we are in the same situation. We ask ourselves, how did I get here again? I've been here before. I don't want to be here again. But you know what? It's the same hole. We just get ourselves out and then we continue on our lives and then we circle back and we fall back into the same hole. It's the same hole. It's been there the whole time. We just keep falling in it. And these are what patterns feel like. And sometimes the patterns, the cycle can be really long. It could be years, but it comes back again. And sometimes it can get shorter and shorter and shorter. And it can show, it takes months before we're through it, and then months before we're back in the hole again. So the length of time that we recognize and start to keep an eye on of recognizing that pattern allows us to, take sight of where we're at along our journey and how much work we've done and how we've been able to continuously let go of this pattern, because we don't just let it go and then it's gone. It's a pattern for a reason. It was created, another way we can think about it is habits, right? If you've ever had a bad habit that you are trying to get out of, it's not about getting out of it, because we can try and get out of it, but then it comes back. And so it becomes a pattern. So it's like changing the way that we approach this thing that's showing up in our lives. Fear. Fear is such a big, big, big one because it can show up in so many ways. And there's so much talk about, fear in terms of, I mean, I say this to my daughter all the time. I tell her she's really brave and she's courageous, but I also remind her that being brave and courageous doesn't mean that there's not fear. There's no fear. Being brave and courageous means moving forward in the face of fear. So fear has its place. However, when we start to walk with fear or let fear be the driving nature of, our actions and how we show up, and we might not even know it because we become so accustomed to fear walking alongside it, that it really can take a toll on how we're showing up and approaching and experiencing all the things in life that are coming our way. So fear and fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of losing what's safe. These are the surface, levels of fear. And then as we dig deeper and deeper and deeper, fear is so big. And then as we go in deeper, the fear of failure, but then where does that come from? Fear of failure to who? Because of what? All these questions will be uncovered as we dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And so it's a vast, vast, vast valley of information and experiences that we've, gathered in our lifetime, in our childhood, in our decades of life. And so they pile up, on this mountain of fear. So these are the surface level things to recognize of what could be creating these blocks that we're experiencing. And what happens, when we have these patterns and fear and attachments that we have, you know, developed over time. We disconnect from ourself. We disconnect from our true self. We can still, function, highly function, actually, and live out of the mind. And I personally have experience where I feel like I'm living, out of my heart. I wear my heart on the sleeve. But as I dug deeper and deeper and deeper into the work and uncovered all the layers, I was recognizing there's always a deeper layer of every emotion. So even though I felt like I I loved fully all the things in my life up here, but then as I uncovered another layer, there was another level and depth of love and another depth of love and another depth of love. So we just keep going. And it's kind of like if you've ever, had a pet or have children, you don't really know what love is like until you have someone to love, a relationship, and it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And so we don't know what that depth is until we go and look for it. So that's the fun part, right? Like how deep can we go and what can we uncover? So what I'm hoping that you will gain today in this video with me is an awareness of patterns. And maybe you already have awareness of your patterns. That's great. So, as I said just before this, how deep can we go into that awareness? So, identifying what's keeping you stuck. And things can come up later, and some things can disappear, or some things are very, 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 very obvious. Some things are big, big, big patterns, and some are small that we kind of know are there, but we can kind of get away with it. But as we uncover and release the bigger and bigger ones, then we keep doing the work because every time we release a small pattern, again, there's like the depth underneath that. Where does that come from? And when we find it, we're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was here. This makes so much sense. And when we have that clarity, it filters into the rest of our lives and everything else we touch. And that's what I love about this work is that, everything we do touches everything else. So it's all connected. We are all connected. I'm hoping that you will develop your own process to let go. And you might already have a process, and that's amazing. Again, how do we keep going? How do we dig deeper and refine? Refinement is a really good word, right? It's like I feel like I'm always evolving, refining, the tiny intricate details, because once we get through the big stuff, the tiny intricate details, that's where we refine, and they touch everything. They touch everything, right? So simple steps to release fear and attachment, having a few simple steps to do that and become so familiar with that way of navigating these that we begin to apply them really easily, and and it becomes second nature. Not to say that it becomes easy, because life isn't easy. It can become more simple and effortless. Effortless in the sense that, oh, I'm not thinking about it all the time. I'm not having to like figure out how. I know how. I need to go do it now. I know how. I need to go do it. Kind of like the gym. You know, I've been working out and exercising probably my whole life. I was playing sports, but we know what to do. We know what to do, but do we do it all the time? Nah, I don't always. So we're always, always refining, repeating, revisiting, relearning, evolving so that you can reconnect with your true self, show up authentically in all your relations, and especially on camera or on stage or when you're connecting with your audience, because that's why we're here. So, how do we do this? Breaking free in 3 steps. Again, step 1, awareness. Having the awareness, identifying the patterns or fears that are holding you back. Only then, when we're scratching the surface of that, can we know in which direction to navigate. Releasing the fear and attachment. So, what is the process of releasing fear and attachment? Asking ourselves, what am I afraid to lose if I let go of this? It's just one question we can ask. There's so many questions. And I find that the best process, and everyone has a unique process. So my journey is to help you discover your process and refine your process so that we can keep going, keep going, keep going. And it's all the questions that we are seeking the answers to. So at every turn, there's a question. Have you ever met a kid that always has questions because they're trying to understand to the next level, to the next level, to the next layer, to the next layer? And the thing is, there's always another layer. And so that's what we're here to do, is to keep uncovering the layers of the onion, I love to say. Again, so that reconnecting with your true self is the final step. And through this process, you're aligning with the version of you that feels the most authentic, so that from this place, you're showing up to everything that you touch without the fear, without the ego, having awareness of the ego, because we can't completely remove it. It is a part of us. So our whole self, our whole true self. And what does that mean? What does that look like to you? What does that feel like? And then how do you show up in your life, and how does your life shift because of this connection that's yours and that we are born with? And somewhere along the way, through the journey of living the human life in a human body with the human aspects, with the ego that gets developed at a certain age, with all these things that accumulate over time, how do we go back to that pure, pure, pure connection with ourselves, with our source, with our intuition, with our higher wisdom? Because all the answers that you need or seeking are already inside you. And so that's what we're here to do, is to reveal and uncover that connection so that we can lean on that. Because right now there's so much information. The first thing we do when we have a question, I know I'm guilty, go to Google or now chat, ask my question. What are all the answers? And there's so much information. And yes, there are, of course, the answers that we need for technical things and objective things, and lots of valuable information, but then we have to sift through. But then, even with marketing, I'm new to marketing and understanding and learning all of it in my online community, and all the courses that I've, purchased, and I'm learning from, and all the mentors and coaches. And um, but then I have to distill it down to zeros and ones like the matrix. And then I reformulate all the information into my own language, because that is connected to my soul and it's aligned with me, because all of that is already inside me. So I'm just using my own intuition to distill all the information and then realign it with my purpose, my calling, my desire, my passion, myself. And then from there, my connection with others also deepens. I get into that right here, actually. So, what's possible for you when you break free? What's possible? What's it going to feel like? You feel lighter. You know, that heaviness that we sometimes feel when life is hard. It gets heavy and we feel like we're in the muck. We're just slogging along. And we experience more alignment and ease. So we feel lighter. And people can see it. They'll see you and be like, "Oh, you look different. There's something glowing about you." Have you ever heard that? You know, because things in our internal landscape are shifting and it shows. And from there, it's like the true beauty. That's the true beauty. We all have it. It collects dust over experiences in life. You get to show up confidently, like true confidence, not the confidence that's covering the insecurity, because we all know what that feels like and looks like, but the true confidence of showing up. And that's invigorating and that's impactful. And people are drawn to that. That's the X factor that they talk about, right? And when you're connecting with your audience and when you want to share your message and your vision, you share from that place, they're going to feel you. They're not just going to hear you, they're going to feel you. And that's what creates impact. That's what we want. We want to make an impact with our wisdom, with the message that you want to share, because it's valuable. What you have to offer is valuable, and people need that. And so you need to show up to share what it is you're offering. And so you embrace your authentic self in all situations. This isn't just for being on camera and just for speaking on stage and presenting. This is because it touches all aspects of your life. So we start here, our relationship to ourselves. And when we solidify this and we refine this, we refine everything else that we touch. The people we speak to, the people we talk to, the people we meet, even for a moment in our days. And deeper connections. This is where it matters, not the superficiality. If we need that or want that, we can find it easily. That's not what we need. That's not what the human soul needs. That's not what people need. They need deeper connections. We need deeper connections. Connect authentically with your audience, on or off camera. Connect authentically, and you're going to make an impact. So, your next step. Let's break through together. I'm so glad you're here. So, identify your patterns, uncover your unique patterns or fears, create a personalized plan. So build a plan to reconnect with your true self. What's a plan? I mean, it could be anything as tiny as like journaling, going for a walk, but having the intention, shifting the way we show up for ourselves. Meditation, yoga, going to the gym, walking our dogs, spending time with ourselves, cooking, painting, drawing, listening to music, dancing. It can be anything. We start somewhere, and then from there we shift the way we show up with this intention, and then it crosses over into everything else that we do. But it starts here. What's one thing that you could mindfully, intentionally start to do with this purpose, to connect with your true self, taking the time to think, feel, question. What are the patterns? What's holding me back? What am I afraid of? It can be a lot of things, but maybe there's one big one. And then we focus on that, and then we excavate. How far can we excavate it? And together we can create a roadmap for authenticity. So creating a strategy for showing up authentically in all areas. So this is for if you feel like you want support, guidance, accountability. You know, sometimes it's helpful to know that this is when I'm showing up. This is the time I'm giving myself in our busy lives. This is the time I'm dedicating to focus on this work. Okay, so we can do that together. And how are we going to do that together? So the first step would be to book your free one-on-one clarity call if you feel ready. So you can schedule a time. It says visit our website. I can post a link below this video for you, and you can choose a time that works for you. And there's some just short questions for you to answer just so I can have a better idea. Um, so we can make the most of our time together and get right into it. So the questionnaire is about your current challenges so we can focus in on the present and what you're needing. And then show up and come ready to focus on you because this time is for you. And we can explore your path forward together. So your breakthrough is closer than you think. If you are here watching this video right now, you're that much closer. So you don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay in these patterns. They don't have to become a way of life. You don't have to accept them. You don't have to, settle that this is the way it's going to be because I know what that feels like. Oh, I guess this is how it's going to be then. No, it's not. It's how much do you want it to shift? What do you want to do about it? Because it all starts with you. And if you're fine where you are, great, awesome. But if you want to keep going and move forward and get clarity and progress and evolve and learn and grow and see and explore, see what's out there, what's possible, abundance, joy, clarity, peace, love, more love. Because I didn't know what was possible until I kept going. And it just keeps going. And even now, here, sharing this with you, I'm uncovering another layer of connection that, I've done lots of videos before, but now I'm finally sharing what's really, really um, so, so important to me and hopefully you. You deserve to feel free, aligned, and confident in who you are. So if you're ready to take the next step, you can book your clarity call now and we can connect. And I'd love to support and guide your journey.